Mike. I'm
Hi,
so
Tracy.
sorry to disturb you.
No, that's okay. What can I do for you?
Well, it's actually not for me. It's when I got here a few minutes ago, I listened to a message on the answer machine, and it was from a Mrs. Patterson.
Mrs. Patterson. Have I met her yet?
Well, I don't think you have. She's one of our older members, and around here we tend to call her the church lady. You know, like from the character in Saturday Night Live?
Oh, yeah, all those years ago. Yeah.
Yes,
I know
well,
what you're talking about.
The
Okay.
reason we call her that, as I said, she's older, and we tend not to see her very often, but when she has a complaint about something, she tends to show up then.
Well, since she and I have never met each other, she can't possibly have a complaint about me.
Well, I wouldn't be too sure about that. In fact, she said on the message that she wants to come by and talk to you today at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Okay, well, just give me a heads up when she arrives and I'll see if I can sneak out the window. Okay?
Okay,
All right.
great.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Tracy.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Patterson. So nice to see you again.
Yeah, save it. Is Pastor Millum in?
We call him Pastor Mike, actually.
You call him whatever you like. I'll just go in and Pastor Millum. I'm Mrs. Patterson. Don't get up. I'll just make myself at home. I've been here many times before.
I don't doubt that.
I'm kind of surprised. Usually when pastors find out that I'm going to show up sort of unannounced, they have a lot of calls to make.
Well, I did try to sneak out the window just now.
Couldn't do it?
No, it's stuck.
Ah, lucky me. Look, I'm here to pick a bone with you.
Well, Mrs. Patterson, with all due respect, I don't understand. I mean, you and I have never met before just a moment ago, so how can you possibly have any kind of issue with me at this point?
I know that I don't come to church very often anymore, but I do know what's going on here. I have my grapevine, and they tell me that for 3 Sundays, count 'em, 3 Sundays, you have talked about money.
Well, yes, we are coming up on our Consecration Sunday after all. That's the Sunday when people are asked to make their financial pledge for the coming year to the church.
I know what Consecration Sunday is. I'm old. I'm not senile.
Okay. Well, I really don't see the problem.
Well, the problem is that you're talking about money, and you shouldn't be doing that in the church. That shouldn't be talked about. It's like talking about politics and sex.
Yes, the 3 unmentionables.
Well,
So, Mrs. Patterson, do you have any idea why people don't like to talk about these 3 unmentionable subjects?
because they're private.
Yes, well, I guess they are private to a certain extent, but where money and wealth is concerned, I happen to believe that they stand the greatest chance of interfering with your relationship with God, and therefore they are something that we should talk about. And I think it gets back to the myth of ownership. We like to tell ourselves that we own everything we have. We worked hard for it, we earned it, it's ours, therefore nobody has any right to say anything about how we use our money and our wealth. But if we believe that God is the origin and the source of all that we have, I think that changes the discussion altogether. You do believe that, don't you? Okay, well, if God is the source of everything we have, then that makes us stewards of the things that God has entrusted us with. We're not owners, we're managers of the things that God has given us. And we have the responsibility to manage or steward those things for our own benefit, yes, but also for the benefit of others. And if God is the source that has given us everything that we have been entrusted with, then certainly God has every right to weigh in on how we use and how we spend our money and wealth.
Wealth? You think I'm rich or something? I and my friends live on fixed incomes.
Well, yes, Mrs. Patterson, I'm sure that's true. But it's obvious that you spend a great deal of time and at least a little bit of money on your wardrobe, and your hair is very nicely done, and you look wonderful.
Are you trying to use flattery on me? Flattery will not work on me. I don't come to church to hear about money. I come for my spiritual life.
Yeah, well, that's another myth we tell ourselves, Mrs. Patterson. We have our money, and that's a material thing, and our spiritual life, that's what we want to concentrate on in church. But I happen to think the way that we use money and our wealth is a profoundly spiritual matter because, as I said earlier, it stands the greatest chance of becoming a hindrance to your relationship with God. So therefore, the way we use our money, the way we invest our money, save our money, spend our money, is a very spiritual thing because it can either get in the way of our relationship with God or it can bring us closer to God.
Well, that still doesn't change the fact that you have talked about money in the church way too many times.
That's another myth, Mrs. Patterson. Do you have any idea how many times Jesus talked about money and wealth in the Gospels?
No, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
You're right about that one. 11, count them, 11 out of Jesus' 39 parables are about money and wealth. 1 out of every 7 verses in the Gospel of Luke has something to do with money and wealth. So, if we were going to be following the example that Jesus set for us, we should probably be talking about money a whole lot more than we do. Maybe every Sunday, in fact.
You do that, and you will have the shortest tenure of any interim pastor here.
I'm sure that's probably true.
Oh, I can guarantee it.
Well, Mrs. Patterson, I want to thank you very much for coming in today.
You do?
Yeah, because based on the conversation we had here, I've just formulated my next temple talk for church. I'm sure you'll be looking forward to it. You'll probably be hearing about it. Thank you very much, Mrs. Patterson. You have a nice day.
Stop it!
All right, bye.